Last day of school at Lincoln High is normally loud, chaotic, and full of students celebrating freedom. But this time, the celebration stopped the second locker 189 started banging from the inside. Everyone thought it was a prank, until we realized that locker belonged to a missing girl from 12 years ago, a girl who was never found. And that afternoon, something started knocking again. The excitement was ridiculous, seniors screaming down the hallway, backpacks thrown into trash cans, teachers smiling because they could finally go home for summer. Posters for graduation were taped everywhere, and the whole school smelled like cleaning spray and the end of another year. I tried to join the noise. I really did. But the moment I turned into the east hallway, everything felt wrong. Lincoln High is old, the kind of old where the ceiling tiles are stained yellow and lockers dented from decades of backpacks slamming into them. Still, today felt different. The air was heavier. The hallway seemed darker. Then I saw it. Locker 189. Black marker still showing the faded name. Mia Carter. Missing, last seen, 2012. Students avoided that part of the hallway. The stories about Mia were local legend. She vanished on the last day of school. No body, no clues. Her locker was sealed after police found scratches inside it. And today, I swear the metal on the door looked newer than yesterday, like someone had been rubbing it from the inside. I tried telling my friend Ben. He smirked. Dude, stop. It's a stupid rumor. Nobody's in there. But my gut said otherwise. After lunch, I walked by the east hallway again, and this time, I felt something vibrate under my feet. I stopped. Then, bang, bang, bang. 3 hits from inside locker 189. The metal shook so hard I stepped back. The handle turned slightly, as if someone inside was trying to open it. A whisper leaked out, faint but unmistakable. Let me out. My entire body locked up. A senior behind me laughed nervously. Probably some freshman messing around. No freshman could make a whisper sound like that, drained, breathless, hollow. Then Principal Kendricks came barreling down the hallway, sweating, panicked. This hallway is closed. Now. Move along. He planted his hand firmly on the locker door like he was trying to keep someone from pushing out. That's when I noticed his hand shaking. Students walked away laughing, but I watched the principal's face. He was terrified. Later, the hallway was taped off for maintenance. Maintenance? On the last day? My heartbeat knew the truth. Someone was inside that locker. Or something. I wasn't supposed to go back, but curiosity pulled me like a rope. I slipped past the custodian's wet floor signs and ducked into the abandoned art wing. From there I accessed the east hallway. Dim, quiet. Too quiet. Locker 189 was now slightly open. I leaned in slowly, my phone flashlight trembling in my hand. Inside the locker were deep claw marks. Hundreds of them. Like someone spent years scratching to get out. Then something cold brushed my wrist. I yanked my hand back. The locker door creaked closed on its own. I spun and sprinted into the nearest room, room 12, an old science classroom sealed last semester after a pipe burst. The air inside was cold, stale. And then I realized. The desks were arranged like a class was still in session. Perfect rows. Facing forward. Except one chair, the one closest to the teacher's desk, was turned toward the door. I blinked. A shadow sat in it. Not a person, just a silhouette, shaped like a teenage girl. Her arm slowly lifted and pointed toward the hallway. My brain screamed at me to leave. And I did. I needed answers. So I sneaked into the administration office. Everyone was too busy celebrating to notice. The CCTV room was dark except for the glow of the monitors. On the top shelf sat a dusty cardboard box. Last day, 2012. My stomach dropped. I grabbed the tape labeled Hall East Wing and played it. Static at first. Then the hallway came into view. Mia Carter was on screen, running for her life, turning back as if something chased her. She reached locker 189. Opened it. Climbed inside. She shut the door. Then she started banging from inside. Hard. Panicked. Her face twisted in terror. Her mouth screamed something, but there was no audio. Then the video glitched. A shadow, tall, thin, featureless, slid across the lens. The camera jerked violently as if something hit it. Then the final frame froze. Mia's bloodied hands pressed against the metal door. I slammed the laptop shut, shaking. She didn't disappear. Something took her. And it wasn't human. I searched old newspaper scans from the office files. Lincoln High was built over a juvenile detention center from the 1950s. The old solitary confinement cells were never removed, they were simply built over. Locker 189 sat exactly where Cell 3 used to be. Cell 3 was where a girl died. A girl whose name was never recorded. A girl rumored to have scratched at the door until her nails ripped off. My chest tightened. This wasn't just a ghost. It was something ancient, trapped, starved, angry. Another bang echoed down the hallway. I froze. Footsteps. Fast. Bare feet slapping the tile. Coming straight for me. I bolted. When I reached the east hallway, the locker was hanging wide open. And a pale arm, impossibly thin, dangled out. The fingers twitched. Then the arm slid back inside, and a face emerged. Not Mia. Older. Sunken eyes. Skin stretched tight over sharp bones. Mouth torn open wider than humanly possible. She looked straight at me. Then she lunged. Her cold hand clamped around my wrist, squeezing with unnatural strength. I felt my skin burning, veins freezing, like she was draining something out of me. I screamed and kicked the locker door. It slammed shut on her arm, she shrieked, a metallic echo that rattled the entire hallway. I ran. I didn't stop until I burst through the school exit into the sunlight. The next morning, Lincoln High announced. East Wing closed for structural damage. But every student knows the truth. Locker 189 is still sealed. And someone, or something, keeps knocking from inside. 3 times. Every night. Bang, bang, bang. And the part that scares me the most? When the janitor opened the locker the next day, my name was scratched on the inside panel. Every student checked out of Crestwood College's Oakridge Dorm on the last day of spring semester, except the girl in room 823. Her car was gone. Her belongings were gone. Her bed was perfectly made. But her keycard kept unlocking the door every night at 2:13 a.m., even though campus police confirmed she was last seen entering the forbidden basement. And the security cameras? They showed someone walking behind her, someone with her exact height, but not her face. I was the RA, resident assistant, for the 3rd floor of Oakridge Dorm, which means I had to check each room before students left for summer break. The building smelled like cardboard boxes, burnt microwave noodles, and the weird sadness of students leaving their college year behind. One by one, rooms emptied out. Doors slammed as students dragged suitcases down the hallway. Parents double-parked outside, yelling for their kids to hurry up. By 6 p.m., I only had one room left to check. A 23. Valerie Hale's room. Valerie was polite but quiet, the type who kept to herself and always wore oversized hoodies. She wasn't close to anyone. Her attendance was perfect. Her room was always locked. But today, when I knocked, no answer. I checked the RA board logs. Her keycard hadn't scanned out of the building. Her checkout form was missing. Her roommate had already left 3 days ago. Valerie? I called again. Silence. I radioed the RA lead. Room 823 occupant hasn't checked out. She answered casually, just open it and verify it's empty. It happens. But something in my gut twisted. I knocked one last time before unlocking A23 with the master key. The door gently pushed open on its own. The room was spotless. Too spotless. The bed was made perfectly. Desk wiped clean. Closet empty. No clothes. No shoes. No charger. No suitcases. Nothing. It was like no one had lived there all semester. But then I saw it. A smartphone under the bed. Screen cracked. Wallpaper showing Valerie smiling weakly. The phone suddenly lit up. A single audio file began playing automatically. Heavy breathing. A faint dragging sound. And then a voice, terrified, whispering. "Don't look at her, don't look at her." I dropped the phone. Before I could process anything, the door behind me clicked. Locked. From the outside. Then, the door unlocked again. By itself. No one was there. My skin crawled. I went straight to the front desk and asked security to pull keycard data. Valerie's last recorded access. 2:13 a.m., basement door 3. Basement access was restricted, officially due to structural safety renovations, but every RA knew the truth. Students who went down there got sick, heard voices, or saw things they couldn't explain. I should have reported it. I should have left it alone. But something told me Valerie was still down there. So I used my badge to override the basement door. Stale air hit my face. A long corridor of cracked concrete stretched ahead, illuminated by flickering yellow lights. Then I saw something written on the wall. Black marker. Dozens of lines. Don't turn around. Don't turn around. Don't turn around. Written hundreds of times. My chest tightened. Footsteps echoed behind me. Slow, deliberate, wet. I refused to turn around. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but I walked forward, shaking. At the end of the hallway, another message stretched across the wall in large, jagged handwriting. She follows slower if you don't look. My throat dried instantly. Who was she? And why did Valerie come down here alone? The corridor opened into a small chamber. A single chair. A cracked full-length mirror. And scratch marks on the concrete floor where the chair had been dragged repeatedly. I stepped closer. And froze. In the reflection, sitting in the chair, was Valerie. Her hoodie torn. Hair covering her face. Hands gripping the armrests tightly. But the real chair in front of me was empty. "Valerie?" I whispered. Her reflection slowly lifted its head. Her face appeared bruised, eyes wide, terrified. She mouthed. "Don't move." Something shifted behind me. In the mirror, just behind my shoulder, stood a tall, thin, pale figure. Human-shaped, but wrong. Limbs longer than normal. Head tilted too far to the side. Its face. There was no face. Just stretched skin. I felt air move near my ear, like it was breathing softly. I fought the urge to turn. If I turned, I felt I wouldn't walk out alive. The thing behind me mimicked my breathing. When I shook, it shook. When I trembled, it trembled. But with a delay, like a glitching reflection. Valerie's reflection whispered urgently. "Walk backward. Don't turn. Don't let it touch you." I stepped back slowly. The entity copied me, but with that same delay, always one step behind. Its movements were twitchy, unnatural, like a puppet being pulled by invisible strings. Valerie continued. I stopped moving. That's why she caught me. My stomach dropped. She didn't leave the dorm. She didn't check out. She never escaped this room. The entity began reaching for my shoulder, lagging behind by 1 second. If I mistimed even a single step, it would touch me. And I knew I wouldn't survive. I didn't blink. Didn't breathe. didn't speed up. Step by step, backward, until the hallway door touched my back. I pushed it open without turning. And sprinted. I burst out of the basement, slammed the door closed, and collapsed on the lobby floor. Security ran over, but I couldn't explain a thing. My voice wouldn't come out. The next morning, administrators sealed room 823 permanently. No explanation. Just a metal plate bolted over the doorway. They also shut down basement door 3. Valerie Hale was officially marked. Withdrawn, no further information. But that night, an alert pinged on my RA dashboard. A keycard scanned into Oakridge Dorm. Valerie Hale, 823 access, 2:13 a.m. But 823 was sealed. And campus police were already downstairs. They checked the door. Still sealed. No one inside. But when they scanned the door logs, there were fingerprints on the metal. Smudged. Long. Thin. Not human-shaped. The entity followed her. It copied her. And maybe it's still living in an empty room, waiting for the next student who doesn't check out on time. The night before graduation at Blackwater University, every building on campus was supposed to be empty. Seniors were gone, professors were gone, security patrolled once every hour, and the lights in the old humanities building were shut off completely. But I wasn't supposed to be inside that building at midnight. I only went back because I forgot my graduation sash in my locker, and because I thought I heard someone crying on the 3rd floor. But what I found instead was a classroom that wasn't supposed to exist, a professor who died 40 years ago, and a roll call being taken for students who never made it to graduation day. When he reached my name, he looked up slowly, skin pale, jaw unhinged, and whispered, "Present?" I should have run. I should have screamed. But all I could say was, "Yes." And that was my biggest mistake. Graduation morning was in a few hours, and my dorm room was a mess, boxes half-packed, posters ripped off the wall, clothes everywhere. My roommate Noah had already left for the night, heading to the senior bonfire. But I realized something important was missing. My graduation sash. It had slipped from my bag somewhere on campus, and I panicked. You don't walk across the stage without your sash at Blackwater University, they literally stop you. I retraced my steps. The last place I remembered having it was the Humanities building, room H312, where I had a late meeting with my thesis advisor. The building was already supposed to be locked at 10 p.m. But when I got there, the front door was slightly open. At first, I thought campus security forgot to lock it. Then I heard something that made my blood freeze. Not footsteps. Not whispers. Crying. Soft, broken, echoing from the 3rd floor. I told myself it was a stressed student who snuck in to study. But even then, what kind of student cries like they're mourning their own funeral? I pulled out my phone's flashlight and headed upstairs. By the time I reached the 3rd floor, the crying had stopped. That somehow made it worse. The hallway felt colder up there, like the AC was broken. My breath fogged slightly in front of me. The walls were lined with old class photos from the 1970s, Blackwater's original graduating classes. I checked room H312 first. Not only was the sash missing, my locker was open. Wide open. Even though I had locked it earlier. Inside, there was something taped to the back wall. A piece of yellowed paper. Handwritten. Faded ink. It said, "Room 3 times 10 to the power of -14. Do not be late." I frowned. There is no room 3 times 10 to the power of -14 in humanities. There's A wing, B wing, C wing. But no E wing. The building layout literally didn't have one. And then the crying started again. But now, it was coming from behind me. At the far end of the hallway, a door slowly creaked open. No lights inside. Just darkness. And the faint outline of a classroom desk. Against my better judgment, I walked toward it. The room wasn't on any map. No room number on the door. No light switch anywhere. Just rows of old wooden desks. A chalkboard. And at the front, a man. Sitting perfectly still at the teacher's desk. He wore a black suit, old-fashioned, dust-lined, like someone preparing for a funeral. His hair was gray, neatly combed, his hands folded on the desk. "Sir?" I whispered. "Are you okay?" He didn't move. But then the chalkboard screeched. Someone had written something on it. I hadn't seen a hand move. But new words appeared as I watched. Roll call, final class. Blackwater University. Graduating class of 1983 inch. My stomach twisted. This building was built in 1984. The year after a campus tragedy no one fully explained. I stepped back toward the door. It slammed shut behind me. The professor finally raised his head. His face was pale. Too pale. Skin cracking like old paper. Eyes completely black. "You're late," he whispered. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. He reached for a clipboard. "Let us begin roll call," he said calmly. "As we do every last day, at midnight." He called the first name. Amelia Barnes. A cold wind swept the room. The desk next to me creaked. Like someone invisible had just sat down. "Present," a faint voice whispered. He called another name. "Peter Holloway." Another desk creaked. Another whisper. "Present." My heart hammered violently. My legs shook. One by one, he called names from the class that died here during the 1983 collapse, a floor that caved in because the university ignored structural warnings. Everyone in that classroom died. And yet here they were, taking roll call. Every last day at midnight. Then the professor paused. His dead black eyes locked onto me. Evan Morris. My blood froze. That was my name. Not a name from 1983. Not from any tragedy. My name. I shook my head. This is a mistake. I'm not part of that class. The professor's cracked lips curved upward into the faintest, deadliest smile. "You entered the room," he said. "So now you belong to it." He leaned forward. "Are you present, Evan?" I backed away until my spine hit the chalkboard. His voice deepened, layered with dozens of echoing whispers. "Say present." The desks trembled around me. Footsteps circled. Invisible hands brushed across my shoulders. "Say it. Say it. Say it." Dozens of voices, male, female, young, terrified, begging, pleading, commanding. The professor stood, bones cracking. His neck twisted in a slow, unnatural angle. He leaned inches from my face. "Attendance is mandatory." I couldn't think. Couldn't breathe. In sheer panic, I blurted, "Present." The voices went silent. All at once. Like someone pressed mute on an entire room. The professor smiled, a wide, cracking, torn smile. "Welcome to the final class." The door slammed open behind me. I sprinted out, down the hallway, down the stairs, through the lobby, and out the building. I didn't stop until I was outside, gasping for air. Behind the glass doors, the third-floor lights flickered. One by one. In a slow, rhythmic pattern. Roll call rhythm. The next morning, I walked across the graduation stage like nothing happened. But when I received my diploma folder, something slipped out. A piece of old yellow paper. A class list from 1983. Names scratched out in red ink. At the bottom, a new name was written in the same faded handwriting. Evan Morris, present. My stomach flipped. Later, when I got back to my dorm, there was a knock on my door. Noah wasn't around. No one should have been there. I opened the door and found a clipboard lying on the floor. The same one from the classroom, with one fresh line added. Next roll call. 1 year from today. I don't sleep much anymore. Because at Blackwater University, your last day isn't when you graduate. It's when your name is finally called.